Hello everyone, Skits here and welcome to top 10 Fallout New Vegas mods that came out in 2018. This video is a little bit late, but since it happened third time in a row, I think we can call it a tradition by now, and I just couldn't break it. Also, this is my 6th year doing this list, so if there is anyone out there that watched all of them, thank you for sticking with me. If you take a look at my first yearly video and this one, I think that you can see an improvement in their quality, and hopefully this trend keeps up. And a final plugin, if you guys enjoy my Fallout content, I think you might enjoy my videos on other games as well. I try to put a lot of effort in them, and if you ever feel like checking them out, I put a link to some of my playlists in the description below. And now, without any further delays, let's get to it. Starting off at place number 10, we have True Crouching by Psychør. This mod allows you to solid snake your way around Mojave. First thing you should install though is collision meshes that removes invisible barriers of objects that shouldn't have them. After that you can crouch or crawl through anything that has enough space. There are a few ways you can use this. First is to just press crouch button, look forward and move under your desired object. If you want to look around and move through some more delicate spaces, you need to hold down right mouse button that allows you to move your camera around and be more precise in your movements. And I personally prefer to use it this way. Or if you want to crawl under some really tiny places that can't be moved through by using previous two techniques, you can go prone by holding down crouch button. This mod is a lot of fun to use, especially if you're one of 3 people that enjoy and is good at stealth. Or you can be like me, sneaky until I get noticed by first enemy and go guns blazing. There were a few bugs I encountered when testing this out, like getting stuck in objects sometimes, but other than that, this mod is a unique concept, executed well, and I can only recommend it. Place number 9 goes to JIP MiniMap by jazzisparis. Well, as you may have guessed, with this mod you now have a minimap in the right corner of your screen. You can switch between local and world map by pressing down the hotkey, and by tapping it you can turn it on and off. Map itself looks very good, it is just as detailed as a classic Pip-Boy map, with local one being even more detailed and colored. It also shows door markers, location markers and quest markers, so you don't get lost anymore. Another interesting feature is Fog of War, that hides unexplored locations on your local map and unravels them as you explore. You can also customize it in mod configuration menu and decide what is displayed and its transparency. Personally, I'm not gonna use it much since I prefer a clean HUD, but I can see that a lot of work and time went into creating it, so if this map is something you think you might enjoy in your game, then go ahead and check it out. No top 10 list is complete without the weapon mod. And this year, coming up at place number 8, we have Photon Laser Weapon Pack by Quicksilver 500. There are 3 new weapons included, a sniper rifle, SMG and a shotgun, that can be found in Brotherhood of Steel's bunker, or you can just spawn them like I do. These are NIF-scope weapons, which means they were created using an already existing models and textures, but Quicksilver did a good job of making them look unique, and they definitely do not look like vanilla laser weapons. My personal favorite thing about them are sound effects. Here is a quick preview. Other than that, edited textures and models look pretty good, but unfortunately SMG doesn't work with Asurah's animation pack. They are balanced in combat, shotgun and sniper rifle are slow but deal a lot of damage, and SMG is on opposite side of spectrum. Overall, a very nice weapon pack with decent selection of good looking guns that you should check out as well. 7th place goes to 2 mods by Xilandrg, jazzisparis and Carxt, Diagonal Movement and B42 Inertia. Now Xilandrg is a well-known modder that created some crazy things in Gamebryo engine and is now working on a huge project called B42 that might be released by time I have grandchildren. Until then, all we have are these small teasers that are released thanks to him and help from other modders like jazzisparis or Carxt. Both of these mods are pretty hard to explain and it is better to see them in action, but let me at least try while I'll show you. Let's start off with Diagonal Movement. In vanilla, if you try to move diagonally, your character does this weird floating animation, and it looks like third-person animations for diagonal movement were not coded. With this mod you can see that third-person movement works and looks as it should, without any nasty visuals. When it comes to inertia, just look at this clip and you can understand what it is about. It basically replicates resistance to velocity change objects have when moved, and like I said, it is best to just see it in action. In conclusion, both of these mods, although small, are still pretty useful, so I think you should go ahead and add them to your mod list. Next up, we have New Vegas Bounty Boards by Cerberus 1211. It adds 7 new boards with quests around Mojave. You can find one in Good Springs, Prim, Novak, Camp McCarran, New Vegas, Freeside and Mormon Fort. Now there were a lot of good quest mods that came out this year, but this one was my favorite for a number of reasons. First, there is big variety in quests, and they all fit in location you get them from. In Camp McCarran, you're gonna be tasked with eliminating fiends. In Prim, you need to fix the town after convicts attack and take on a number of delivery jobs, since, you know, Mojave Express is here. In Novak, Nobark sends you on an alien hunt. In Freeside, you get to hunt rats, steal stuff from famous residents, and get mixed up in a jet deal. You get to summon demons, navigate trap-filled buildings, and other fun things. Gameplay wise, you shoot raiders, explore new locations, and read some notes if you enjoy that. I think that this is one of the best quest mods to start a new game with, and I would even recommend it to people that did not play through New Vegas before, since these quest mods are so well integrated into Mojave's lore and locations that you wouldn't even know you are playing a mod. And because of all of this, I urge you to go and download this mod, you're not gonna regret it. Place number 5 goes to Live Dismemberment by C16 and Asurah. Now this mod goes to all my boys out there that like to torture their enemies. With this mod, you can shoot off people's legs and watch them crawl, or shoot their hands and watch them run away as you chase them to deal a finishing blow. There is a difference between destroying left and right arm though. If you remove left arm, NPCs are stuck with one-armed weapons, and when you shoot off right arm, they run away, which means there are no lefties left in Mojave. Mod comes with custom animations for crawling as well, even though you probably won't see that much, since enemies bleed out very fast. But it is still a lot of fun to blow their legs off and see them try. No one gets excluded here. Dismemberment works on humans, ghouls and super mutants. Overall, an enjoyable and fun to use mod that will never leave your New Vegas once you have it installed. Moving on, we have Mojave Raiders and Mojave Wildlife by Push the WinButton. I decided to include these two mods at the same spot, since they both focus on same thing, but with different factions and creatures. Mojave Raiders overhauls fiends and other raider factions. First, there are now a lot more of them around Mojave. Powder gangers now patrol locations around Good Springs and Correctional Facility, providing a good challenge for low-level characters. Jackals and Vipers now appear frequently as well, especially south of Prim and in North Vegas. Good old fiends also have some new troops, and traversing areas around Vault 3 is not that easy anymore. While there are more of them, don't worry, Mojave is not overflowing with raiders all of a sudden, and Mod managed to balance it well. Another thing that received change is equipment. Vipers and Jackals now wear standard raider armor, and raiders now use specific weapon condition leveled list, meaning weapons you find on them are damaged. They are also divided into 4 tiers, with appropriate weapons and armors for each level. You also get less loot from them, since killing fiends was an easy way to hoard on useful 8 items, which are now harder to find. And Scorpion's gang received a makeover, so make sure you visit them in Monte Carlo suits. When it comes to Mojave Wildlife, Mod added dozens of new spawns for vanilla creatures, all hand placed to fit into Mojave and make it fair for new players, so they won't encounter dead claws outside of Good Springs. Spawns are separated into 5 tiers, depending on your level and on locations as well. For example, you can only meet creatures in tiers 1, 2 and 3 around Good Springs, while tier 5 creatures can surprise you in mountains. Mod also increased population of some vanilla locations, like Black Mountain, that now has tons of new super mutants. Overall, both of these mods are great. They managed to fix something I always hated about vanilla, and that is its emptiness and lack of challenge. So if you feel like that is missing from your game as well, then go ahead and check out these two mods. Third place goes to The Living Desert by ElPascal. This mod is similar to previous ones, but this time focused on friendly NPCs and consequences of your actions. Like I mentioned before, vanilla New Vegas is empty, and it feels like you are only one exploring it. This mod adds hundreds of new NPCs into it that you can meet during your travels. Most of these NPCs appear because of your choices in quests. For example, if you decide to help Good Springs with their powder ganger problem, there will be traders moving around that area, coming to buy gecko hides. There are customers in saloon and general store now, but if you decide to side with powder gangers, they all disappear, and a squad of vigilantes will try to hunt you down. Nipton gets taken over by bandits few days after your encounter with Legion. There are new characters living in empty locations like Emergency Railroad Station, and a lot more new changes that you can read about on the mod page. Thanks to this mod, Mojave feels alive once again, and meeting hunters, traders, travelers, or NCR patrols out there in the wild is a welcome sign. If you combine Living Desert with 2 previous mods, you're gonna see a lot of encounters between raiders and travelers, which is something I never experienced in vanilla before. But even if you only use Living Desert by itself, you're gonna see a big change, and I recommend starting a new playthrough with it, just to experience it all. Definitely one of best mods that came out in 2018, and I can only recommend it. Coming up at place number 2, we have Asurah's Reanimation pack by Asurah. This mod replaces almost all first and third person weapon animations. One of most frequent questions I get asked on my modding videos, right after what EMB I use and what are those floating numbers about enemies, is what animations I have, because they look awesome. And for those of you that want to know, I use this mod and I'm probably never going back. I don't really have that much to say about them. I mean, it is best to just see them in game, and you could do that throughout the whole video. Asurah did an amazing job, and considering that this mod is still in its alpha stage, I can't wait to see its full version, if he or she is still working on it. They are fluid, detailed, and some of them look even better than animations produced by big companies in 2018. Anyways, a great mod that I think everyone should use, and if you have been using a Hitman's animation until now, I think it is time to switch to Asurah's. And finally, our winner for this year is New California by Radian-Helix Media. I'm sure most of you guessed that New California would win in this year, and you were correct. Despite some of its flaws and unfinished stages, it is still by far the best and most complex mod released last year. For those of you that don't know anything about it, New California is a huge DLC-sized mod that adds a brand new world space, characters and storyline, separated from classic New Vegas. It tells the story of Vault 18 survivor who needs to decide which side is he on and eventually decide the fate of this part of Wasteland. One of its main strengths is choice. You can decide if you want to support Enclave, NCR, Raiders, Super Mutants or go solo. Each decision you make opens up a new path with different quests, interactions and locations for you to explore. That way you can easily play through it 2 or 3 times and always experience something new. It features a new world with some cool landmarks that however feels empty and unfinished at times. Another weakness was its storyline that started out strong but ended in a weird way that I didn't like. When it comes to gameplay, New California features tons of epic battles with tens of NPCs fighting each other that is mixed up with good amount of talking and exploring. If you want to know more, I made a separate review about it that you can find linked in the description below. One thing to note is that most of bugs I experienced in that review have already been fixed, and mod is constantly getting new updates with new story content and companions overhaul coming soon. Overall, one of best mods I ever played, with a dedicated team behind it that definitely deserves your time and attention. In the end, I didn't manage to include all mods I wanted in this list, so there are a few honorable mentions listed in the description. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in 6 months when I decide to make another one of these. In the end, I would also like to thank all the Patreons that supported me this month. Your support is very appreciated. And I also hope you guys will enjoy some of my new videos that I'm currently producing. I'm trying to make them a bit funnier as of late, and you know, those jokes are funny to me, so I guess that's something. And once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, tell me what you think about it in the comments, subscribe for more Fallout and other games content, and I will see you next time.